Hi my lovelies and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be a Q&A. You can probably hear Yahi in the background. That annoying sound is his rocker. This is the only way I'm going to get today's video filmed, but I thought I would do like a quick Q&A session with you guys, let you guys know a bit more about me. I always think that my audience on YouTube are the same as my audience on Instagram, and I don't think a lot of you follow me on Instagram. If you don't, make sure you do. I'll leave the link below. But for those of you who don't, I thought I'd let you know a little bit more about myself, because I feel like I haven't done a Q&A in a very long time. And then on Instagram, I asked whether you guys had any questions about the new mum life or the mum of two life. So I will go ahead and answer those as well. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed, hit the notification bell so that you get a notification every time I upload. I'm trying to upload regularly every Sunday. Sometimes I forget. Last week and I forgot and I uploaded at like 11 PM on a Sunday, which is, yeah, not good. But from now on, I'm going to try and upload like around 7 PM on a Sunday. So make sure you hit that notification bell and then you will know when I have uploaded. So straight into it, if you guys don't know already, my name is Sabina. It's not spelt the way my Instagram and YouTube is, just the spelling of my name wasn't available on Instagram. So I added an extra A and an extra H on the end. I am going to be 28 this weekend, which is crazy. Like, it's been a decade since I left school or went to uni. Like, I'm like, how? I feel so old. I started YouTube/Instagram about 5 years ago, just as like a fun thing to do, and now it's like my full-time job and business. In that time I've gotten married, I've had 2 kids, so Noah, who is 2, who just turned 2, and Yahya, who is 2 months. You are, aren't you? He slept all whilst I was doing my makeup, so that was a good thing, and now he's awake, so the only way I can film is by having him here. So I'm hoping this will go well and won't be too tricky. My background was in law, so I did the LLB and I got a first, which I'm very, very proud of. I did the LPC, which I got a distinction in, and then I was working in the legal sector when I went on mat leave with Noah, and then I decided that I wanted to try and do this full time because it works better with kids. I have 2 sisters who you guys have seen in very old videos. I'm going to try and do some more content with them. Hannah doesn't want to be in anything, but Miriam does. So me and Miriam are going to be working on some stuff soon for my channel. And I have 1 brother. I don't know what other questions to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and do the mum life questions now. If you guys do have any like questions that aren't too personal, leave them in the comments and I will try and answer them, inshallah. So the first question, is there anything you wish you'd done before becoming a mum that you can't do now? So I think as a mum, you can do everything. The only issue is 2 issues. A, it takes a lot longer, and B, you need a lot more patience, which is a tricky part for me. Like, you can still go on holiday, you can still go out and about, you can still do stuff, but it's a little bit tricky. Like, I'm still filming YouTube, but just gotta have him there, and it's a little bit tricky because I might have to get up here and there. I still go to my meetings and my events in London, and I've been taking Yahya with me, but instead of the tube, we are now getting taxis, so it's a little bit more expensive. Because on the tube, a lot of the stations don't have lifts, so you've got to go up the stairs, and it's just impossible for me to carry the buggy on my own, and I don't really like asking for help, and if there's no one else there, then it gets tricky. And then if we're at an event and he does a poo and needs to get changed, you know, it just takes longer, so I can still do that stuff. Even traveling, I would love to travel more. Like, I really want to do like Thailand or the Caribbean or something like that, but just with kids, obviously the long haul flight is harder, you don't get to relax as much, so we are saving those exotic places for when the boys grow up. But we will still do holidays, and we have done loads of holidays with Noah, and although it's been tricky because it does take longer and you can't relax as much, and you've got to make sure that they're still sleeping at the right time and eating at the right time, you can still do it. So I don't think there's anything necessarily that you can't do as a mum. You just need to give yourself more time, basically. Where's the best place to learn for new mums? I Google everything and then I read forums and see what other mums are saying. It's really weird because I was watching an episode of Friends last week, and it's the one where Rachel has Emma, and something's wrong, and she rings the doctor at like 3 AM in the morning. And then it suddenly occurred to me, I was like, that's what people did before they had the internet. Like, how else would you get information? I Google everything, and then I read other mums' comments, and either I'm like, okay, you know, I'm relieved and everything's okay, or I get myself into panic because I'm like, oh my god, something is wrong, and then like I'm sitting there counting the hours until the doctor opens so I can ring the doctor in the morning. But I don't have like a specific go-to website, so I don't really know the specific answer to that, just the internet. What other baby names for girls and boys do you love and might keep in the future? So for Yahya, I really didn't want to go with Yahya. Although it's a beautiful name, I think people really struggle to pronounce it. And even now, you know, when I'm at places and I'm like, yeah, it's Yahya, and people are like, oh, that's nice. And then they don't repeat it back to me because I know they can't say it. So that was the difficulty we had. I really wanted to go with Ishaq, which Fazan didn't like. So we've gone with that as the middle name, so it's Yahya Ishaq. But other names that I liked was, I really liked Abdul Ilahi. I just thought that was beautiful. I liked Elijah. I liked Idris. I liked Ismail. There was a few. And for a girl, I really like Ayla or Ayla, Ara, Aya. Like kind of anything with an A or an E. I'm like, Aoife. I kind of really like those names. Like if it was down to me, I think we would have gone with, like, for the boys, we would have gone with like Abdurrahim or Abdurrahman, and like for a girl we would go with like Khadija or Halima or something like that. Something that's like a powerful, beautiful, strong name with a good meaning. The difficulty is we both have huge families and a lot of the names have been taken up already, so our choice of name pool is very limited. And Fazan's always like, but so what if, you know, one of your nieces or one of my nieces has got that name? And I'm like, it's difficult when you see someone very, very regularly to then have the same name. Like if we hardly ever saw them, it would be different. But, you know, this is a family that we see every week or every weekend, and then having two kids in the same house called Khadija or called Abdurrahman, I feel like it can be very confusing. So yeah, we were quite limited, but there's loads of beautiful names out there with really lovely meanings. As a mum of two, do you plan to have more kids soon, and how many? So if you asked me this when I was pregnant, I would have said hell to the no. Like, I was fed up. I cannot explain to you. Like, I was huge. I was out here. I was moody. I was bitchy. I had no patience. I was just done with everything. Like, I couldn't do anything. And I'm so used to being out and about and being active and doing things for myself and not asking for help. And I just felt like, I don't know. Yeah, it was horrible. And then obviously the labour, straight after the labour, it's fresh in your mind. And I was like, no, we are not having any more kids. We're done. I've got my two boys and it's lovely and I'm happy and alhamdulillah, and we're done. And now that I'm like going through the newborn phase with Yahya, which is so nice, I'm like, I might have another one. Yeah. Do you want a baby brother or sister? Ah, you do. So never say never, but obviously you don't know what's written. Whatever Allah has written for us is what will happen. Obviously he's only 2 months, so I think my body needs a good break before we think about having more kids. But yeah, never say never. How do you manage house chores as well as 2 little ones? Do you ever get stuck in the middle of it? So I am constantly having emotional and mental breakdowns. I feel like I need to speak about this because it's something that doesn't come across on social media. You know, on social media you see things that are nice and tidy and like well-dressed kids and a happy mum. And I do try and talk about it on my stories because it is a struggle. Getting that balance right is a struggle. If you see me out and about and working and you see my kids, it means my house is a mess. If I'm at home and my house is tidy and my kids are happy, it means I'm not doing any work. And if I'm doing work and the house is tidy, it means the kids are either with their grandma or with my mum or with Fazan's mum or with Fazan out and about. Like, it's impossible to do everything. And I feel like a lot of us feel that pressure to get everything done. And you can't, not without help. A, not without help, and B, not without losing your bloody mind. Like the amount of times that I've just sat here and cried because I'm like, the dishes need washing and, you know, the clothes need sorting out. I just can't do everything and it's too much. And like sometimes having a cry is good as well. Like, you know, you feel better after you've let it all out. But yeah, it's just, you just kind of get on with things and take each day as it comes and don't let yourself get overwhelmed with the things that you didn't do. That advice is to myself before anyone else. I need to listen to that advice. Which one is difficult to handle, Yahya or Noah? So I'm finding dealing with a newborn very, very easy, alhamdulillah, at the moment. Like kind of with Noah, I kind of struggled to get in a routine with breastfeeding, and he was breast and bottle fed, and you know, the sleepless nights and everything else I kind of struggled with. Whereas Yahya, yeah, I've got myself into a much better routine with the breastfeeding. I just feel a lot more confident dealing with the newborn stage, and they do sleep a lot. And what I didn't do with Noah was sleep when he slept, whereas this time, if I'm at home, I'm like, he's asleep, I'm gonna sleep. So I feel like that's really helped. With Noah, I'm really struggling at the moment. I feel really guilty all the time that I'm not giving him enough attention, because obviously, especially if I'm in the middle of feeding Yahya and Noah tries to drag me away, it's very hard. And often I do put Yahya down and go off with Noah, but then if Yahya cries, I've got to carry on feeding him. So it's just about getting that balance right. But Noah's going through the terrible twos. You want attention? You want attention? Shall I put your rocker back on? Noah is going through the terrible twos, so anytime he doesn't get what he wants, he's straight on the floor and it's tears and everything is kind of difficult. He's not eating properly and he only wants sweets and chocolates and junk food. And you know, sometimes he doesn't want to take his coat off, sometimes he doesn't want to get out of the bath, sometimes he doesn't want to change his nappy or put his clothes on. Like every day it's something, and it's just trying to decide, you know, what I'm going to be strict about and what I'm going to let him go away with, and not letting him get away with too much, because sometimes with the mum guilt, I feel like I'm spending so much time with Yahya that I do let Noah get away with stuff that he shouldn't get away with. So it's about like just trying to keep that balance. I think that's the hardest thing for me at the moment. How do you manage to take care of all the boys? So I do get a lot of help. My mum and my mother-in-law do help me out. So if I'm in London for work and stuff, they will have Noah. If I have a very early start, they will have Noah. If I have an evening event, they will have Noah. So that firstly really helps. Noah's at a stage now where he can voice whether he wants to stay or not. So often what I will do is, if he's there, I will say to him, like, you know, do you want to come home or do you want to stay? And I let him decide. And then I feel like that way he doesn't feel like he's not wanted at home. Because when Yahya was first born, that was my biggest worry. I felt like Noah couldn't vocalise whether he wanted to stay or not. And he stayed a lot. It was one day at my mum's, one day at my mother-in-law's, and vice versa, just so that I could get into the swing of things with a new baby. And in my head I kept worrying, like, what if he thinks I don't love him? What if he thinks I've dumped him? What if he thinks, you know, I'm leaving him here and I replaced him with a new baby? And that killed me inside. So now that I can ask him and he can decide, it really like makes me feel a lot less guilty. And most of the time he wants to stay, because my mum and Fasan's mum let him get away with murder, you know, and they like treat him like a little prince, so he loves it. And I feel like that gives me a break and that gives me time to get things done. So whether I'm out and about at events or meetings or for work, or if I'm at home, Yahya sleeps a lot, so I will get housework done or get, you know, catch up on my sleep or do whatever I need to then. So I feel like having a good support network is crucial. What's your routine? I don't have a routine. I think having a routine is very difficult with two kids. You just don't know how things are going to pan out, especially when you work for yourself and you're working from home and you don't have to be out of the house at a certain time. It's difficult to be like, okay, we need to be up at 8 every day, because some days, you know, the kids might be up the whole night and you can't be up at 8. You know, you're all going to sleep in until 10 or 12. So I kind of just take each day as it goes, really. How do you cope with Noah's jealousy? I'm expecting baby number 2 in the summer. Please make dua, sis. Okay, sending lots of duas your way. It was a little bit of a struggle at first because he didn't understand, but I feel like the more time he's spent with Yahya, the more he's exposed to him, the better it's gotten. And like, I try not to tell Noah off, so when he hugs Yahya, it really squashes him. But I have to be gently be like, okay, you know, don't put your weight on him, he's a baby, you know, he can't deal with that. So it's explaining to him nicely rather than be like, no, Noah, don't squash him. Like, it's about explaining and making him understand. And like, when he kisses him, he takes his dummy out his mouth and wants to kiss him on the lips, and it's been about teaching him, no, why don't you kiss his hand or kiss his head instead? That's nicer. And it's just a teaching curve. And I feel like it's gotten a lot better, and I feel like he's really got a bond with Yahya now. Like, I feel like he's really affectionate towards him. He misses him when he's not around. He does still get jealous a lot. I think he mostly gets jealous when he wants to show me something and I'm holding Yahya. And then I think he finds it a bit unfair that, why have you always got him? So I do try and explain to him when he's trying to pull my hand, I'd be like, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'm just going to finish feeding him and then I will come with you. And then if he gets upset, then I'll be like, I know you're upset because Yahya takes up all of mummy's time. But we will get there. So yeah, it's just kind of really explaining things to him. And I feel like often because they're so young, we think that they don't understand. Hi, what's up? Often they're so young we think that they don't understand. Oh, you just want to play. You just want to play. Often we think they don't understand because they're so young, but actually they do. They understand a lot, even though they can't speak those words back to us. If we just explain things to them, it does make it a lot easier. Is breastfeeding easier the second time round? So personally, I found it a lot easier, and I think the reason that I found it easier is because I like read up loads online about different things. The first time around, I feel like I gave up very easily. I struggled with it and I didn't know enough. Whereas this time I learned things like, you know, the more you feed, the more milk you have. And like, I'm a lot more comfortable feeding him out and about. Whereas with Noah, I would get really embarrassed. Whereas with Yahya, I would literally put the blanket over him and over me, get my breast out and start feeding. Like, no one can see anything. I'm not gonna feel uncomfortable just because my child needs to be fed. Like, whereas with Noah, when I was out, I would get the bottle and give him the bottle. And I feel like that when you replace a feed with a bottle, that's what reduces your breast milk, and then I'd be stressed that I didn't have enough milk. So I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable this time around, but I think it's all about learning and kind of knowing everything and asking for help. You know, at the hospital, even though he was my second baby and I was already breastfeeding, I spoke to the midwives and like they showed me the different positions that I could hold him in and how to make things easier. And I just think having open discussions with people if you are struggling with breastfeeding, because there's loads of support centres available, I feel like that makes it a lot easier. How do you know that you are ready to be a mum, and how much does your life change afterwards? I don't think you're ever ready. Like when I was younger, when I was like 17, 18, that's when a lot of my cousins had their kids, and I'd like be around my nephews and nieces and I'd get so broody and be like, oh my God, I really want a baby. And now that I have my own, I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Like, there is no way I could have dealt with a baby at that age. And I think as I've gotten older and I've become more selfish, alhamdulillah, as I've gotten older and become more selfish, it's been harder to be like, okay, now I'm ready for a baby. So both of mine weren't planned, and alhamdulillah, I think they just happened at the right time, because if it had been left down to me, I don't think I would ever have felt ready. Having a child is a huge responsibility. Like, your whole life changes. And I don't think mentally I ever felt like I would be ready for that. But once you're kind of thrown in the deep end, you just get on with it and you just do the best that you can. And I think that's all parents. I think all mums to some extent are just winging it. Like, there are certain things that we know, we all know, or we've nailed, but for the vast majority of it, we're kind of just taking it as it comes and doing the best we can. And a lot of the times we feel like the best we can isn't good enough, and that's where the mum guilt comes in. So I just think, you know, your life changes completely after you've had a child, and you just learn to deal with it and do the best you can, really. For me, when I had Noah, I didn't prepare myself for how much things were going to change. I thought I could still be me and still do the same things, and I would just have a child. And it's only after I had him that I realised, wow, everything does change. And for me personally, like, everything became about him. Even when I was out and about and doing things by myself or for myself, at the back of my head, I was still thinking about him. And although it is like a huge weight and a huge responsibility, it's also actually really nice. It's really nice to just see these little human beings that you've made and see them develop and see them learn. And like, you know, when they say something nice for the first time, and when they smile for the first time, like Yahya is starting to smile now. We haven't had a laugh out of him, but we've had lots of smiles and lots of cries. It's nice. It's so nice. I feel like this video's gotten really long and Yahya's getting unsettled. So this is the last question that I'm going to answer. How do you feel about your body changing? How do you feel about your body changes and breastfeeding? Or as a new mum too, give us tips to slim down this tummy. Are you waist training in any way? So after I had... Just dropped my phone. After I had Noah, I really struggled with my postpartum body. I've always been quite like short and petite. Like, even though I've never had a flat belly, I've never kind of been curvy. And then suddenly I had like love handles. My stomach hadn't gone back because obviously it takes 6 weeks for your womb to shrink back. As I was breastfeeding, I got like really chest heavy. I've always been like an A cup, and suddenly I was like a D cup. So trying to dress this new body was really difficult, and just trying to deal with it was like really depressing because I didn't know what suited me. I didn't know what to wear, and I was like, my job is a fashion blogger. How can I not know what to wear? Like, yeah, it really threw me. It took me ages to kind of get to a place where I'm comfortable. And even now I don't feel fully comfortable. Like I wear a lot more dresses, and right now because I'm breastfeeding, anything with buttons or anything that lifts up. But it took me a while to kind of understand that my body had been through so much, and like trying to expecting it to snap back to what it was before was ridiculous. Like just because I see it on Instagram doesn't mean it happens in reality. And I would see so many mums on my explore page who would be like 9 months in and then have a huge belly, and then be like 9 weeks out and then have a flat stomach, and I'd be like, how is that fair? And even now I get comments on my Instagram about people being like, oh, you look so slim. But I think what you have to remember is it's A, what you're wearing, and B, the angles. Like if you get me at a side angle, you will see how wide I am. Whereas normally it's like kind of front, kind of slanted with my arm in front, so I look slimmer. Like you have to take all of these things into consideration. And the postpartum body is something that I've spoken about a lot on Insta stories, because people don't tell you that A, it takes a long time for your womb to shrink back, so you will still look pregnant for a while, especially the first couple of weeks you're gonna look pregnant. So these images that you see of women who've just given birth with a flat stomach, that's not reality. And then secondly, even your overall weight gain, it took 9 months or 10 months for your body to produce a baby. So don't be too harsh and expect your body to go back straight away. It might not ever go back. Like your hips widen when you're pregnant, and like the frame that you have when you're 17 and you're slim and like all small, it won't be the same when you're 27 and you've given birth. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Like look at your baby, look at the little miracle that you've produced. And like even now when I'm breastfeeding him, that's my body is giving him food to sustain him. Like that's how amazingly my body has been built. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has built it. So to stress over I look fat, or I'm not as skinny as I was before, or this doesn't fit me, it seems in the grand scheme of things really silly. And I feel like if we didn't have the pressure of social media, we wouldn't care as, or like just what you see in magazines and on TV, we wouldn't care as much. But because we're exposed to this image of like the perfect woman and like what your body should look like all the time, we put more pressure on ourselves, and it's just unnecessary. There's so many things that you have to deal with as a new mum, and it's overwhelming enough as it is, and then to throw in this body pressure on top, it's not fair. So honestly, like just relax, give yourself chill time. Even when people say to me like, how do you have time to do makeup? Well, I've done this because I'm filming a video. I'm not going to sit here in my PJs and film a video. But if you saw me yesterday when I was at home, I didn't film any content, just spending the day with my boys. I was in my PJs for most of the day, and I like my bags are like down here. This is concealer. So you know, don't put that pressure on yourself. Just take things as they come. Take each day as it comes. Don't worry about looking a certain way or doing things a certain way. Do what makes you happy and what you're comfortable with. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up now because I feel like I have been rambling for the longest time. And as you guys know, I love to ramble. I love to tell a story. So hopefully you guys found this informative and useful in some sort of way. Leave me video ideas below. Like I said, I'm going to try and upload on a weekly basis. So I want to know what you guys want to see. And yeah, I will see you all soon, inshallah.